Welcome back to the channel. We're back with another commander deck profile from Edge of Eternities with Dawnsire, Sunstar, Dreadnought. For 5 mana, you get a station where if you station for 10, whenever you attack, Dawnsire deals 100 damage to up to one target creature or planeswalker. And for 20, you get 20/20 with flying. So we have plenty of ways to make sure we're able to station this here in the deck with some powerful creatures in order to make sure we deal 100 damage to something that either we control or our opponents control, with some cards we'll be getting into later that like to be dealt at damage. Or, some ways that we get to the 20 so that we could swing in for 20 damage. But we'll be getting into that all in just a second. But let's get all started card by card. We have Basalt Monolith. That's untapped during an untapped step, but you do get Dream mana off of just 3 casting costs. You do eventually have to pay 3 to untap it, but still, you're basically going neutral unless you have another way to untap it, which we may get into later. Basilisk Collar. Equipped creature has Death Touch and Lifelink. I mean, if we were able to get this into a creature, dealing 100 damage to up to one target creature or planeswalker, we then get to gain that 100 life, making us a little bit harder to kill unless our opponent's running Tifa and they just have that commander damage on board for us either way. Cloud Key for a little bit of cost reduction for our artifacts there, which is our main bread and butter here for this deck. Darksteel Monolith. Once during each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a colorless spell you cast from your hand. We have some big spells that we won't be casting from our hand. This is also 8 mana itself, so we have some ways to make sure it's a little bit cheaper to cast coming forward. But overall, just a fun card to make sure we're able to cast our stuff for free. Energy Chamber. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose one, put a +1/+1 counter on target artifact creature, or put a charge counter on target non-creature artifact. So if we get all the charge counters onto Dawnsire, then eventually we could put the +1/+1 counter on it, putting it at the 21. Remove our opponent's thing that's standing in the way and swing on them for that 21 commander damage. Could just be a fun thing in theory. Everflowing Chalice, multi-kicker for 2. Put that many charge counters on it. We have other ways to get charge counters onto things, such as Energy Chamber, in order to make sure that we could tap for plenty of mana to cast plenty of spells. Extinguisher Battleship, another fun spacecraft here from the new set. Whenever this spacecraft enters, destroy target non-creature permanent, aka one of your opponent's spacecrafts, potentially. No, not that many people are running spacecrafts, but, maybe they're Soul Ring. Then it deals 4 damage to each creature. We don't have that many creatures in our deck that have power 4 or less, so may as well deal that damage to all our opponents have, getting rid of it. And then eventually you station it for 5, get Flying Trample, and then, you tap this for the station of Dawnsire. They have the good synergy. Forsaken Monument, color spells you can control get +2/+2, getting Dawnsire to 22 damage for commander damage. And whenever you tap a permanent for colorless, add an additional colorless. And whenever you cast a colorless spell, you gain 2 life. Allowing us to gain that little bit of life, just so that, when our opponent doesn't want to get one of their things dealt 100 damage, we could survive just a little bit longer. And just that bit of ramp is super helpful in this deck. Hedron Archive, another way to get some additional mana there, and you can sacrifice it for a little bit of draw power if you need it. Lightning Greaves, in order to make sure that we could have that little bit of protection onto our commander, or some of our other stuff that just has some good tap abilities, which we'll be getting to shortly. Manifold Keyed, untap other target artifact in order to make sure we can then tap it again in order to station our stuff, and then target creature can't be blocked this turn, potentially allowing us to swing in with our spacecraft. Mind Stone for the mana and a little bit of draw power. Power Conduit. Move a counter from a permanent you control. Maybe we have too many charge counters on anything. So you can then put a charge counter on another target artifact, or put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Depends what we need at the time, but both are just good abilities in the deck. Normally charge counter them. Sculpting Steel, in order to get a second copy of one of our really good artifacts. Maybe a second Manifold Key, Lightning Greaves, Hedron Archive. Probably a second Forsaken Monument would be really nice. Sensei's Divine Tap. Why guess what we're going to get off the top? Well, we could just know. And we could probably get this for free. Soul Ring for that mana. Staff of Domination. Or untap your stuff just by tapping this. In order to make sure that, you keep on going on along with your plays. In order to keep on stationing your guy. Shrinic Resonator. Copy target ability you control. You may choose new targets. I mean, if we're going to be dealing 100 damage to something, why stop at 1? Swift Boots for some more protection, along with a little bit of haste. End stone. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, draw a card. Between your end step, your life becomes half your starting life total rounded up. So we'll go to 20. Maybe we're at 5, now we're at 20, now we're a little bit harder to kill. But overall, just a good colorless spell on top of that as well, for that draw power. The Eternity Elevator, you get 3 mana for 5, and eventually we could station it for 20. We'll be able to add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of charge counters on Edge of Eternity. The Eternity Elevator. So, that's 20 mana just based off of tapping our stuff, which, like I said, we have plenty of ways to tap and untap our stuff. Dawn Vessel for the mana, Dran Dynamo for the mana, and Unwinding Clock, because we're going to be tapping all of our stuff to station our things. We're going to need a way to make sure they untap in order to make sure we're guarded. Unfortunately, we can only station at sorcery speed. It'd be really cool if we could do it instant. Eventually we'll probably print something. Abstrue, Archaeac, 4 mana, Vigilance, 3/4, copy target ability for colorless hunters. May choose new targets. If we're going to be dealing 100 damage, let's deal 200 damage. Let's gain 200 life once we give it that life link as well. Ancient Stone Idol. 1 less cast for each attacking creature. When it dies, create a 6/12 colorless construct artifact token with trample. It's potentially a 12/12 for free. In theory, if your opponent's swinging on you with 12 tokens, we'll take the 12 damage, get 12/12. And then we could just use this to station our commander right away. Bygone Colossus, Warp 3. Fun thing about warping is that they do go away, so you don't have to care about if they're tapped or not, because Dawnsire's ability taps it, not them tapping themselves. So, really fun ability there. Canoptic Spider, whenever another non-token artifact or creature you control enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. It's going to be a lot of draw power for us with this card. Really good 40k card. Core Tapper, put a charge counter on target artifact. You tap it to station, or you just put charge counter on this way. Or you sacrifice this creature, put 2 charge counters on target artifact. So you can also sacrifice it and get those additional counters. You get 3 just on 1 turn. Sorry about that. Crypto Draw. Other artifact creatures you control have hexproof, allowing us to add a little bit of extra protection there. I don't have the Darksteel Forge in here, I just realized. But Darksteel Juggernauts, power and toughness equal to the number of artifacts you control. We have 50, I think. With attacks each combat if able. This is just overall just a strong creature in order to have plenty of ways to station our commander. Untap it in order to have a block for us. Desolation Twin, another 10/10. When you cast a spell, create 10/10 as well. It's already at that 20 in order to fully station our commander. Foundry Inspector for some cost reduction. Glaring Fleshraker, whenever you cast a color spell, which is going to be a whole bunch with this deck, in case you haven't noticed. You create a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn creature token. We can sacrifice it for a colorless. And another colorless creature enters the battlefield under your control. Deal 1 damage to each opponent. So that whole bunch of extra mana is going to be super helpful for us. Hedron Crawler for some additional mana. Karn Legacy Reforged. Power and toughness equal to grace mana value among artifacts you control, so at least 5, which is only 2 times you have to tap it for, to station. At the beginning of your upkeep, add colorless mana for each artifact you control. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. Until on turn, you don't lose mana, steps, and phases end. Overall, just a good ability there. It could be a super strong creature. It just helps us out getting our other stuff on the board as well. Lupine Prototype creature can't attack or block unless a player has no cards in hand. We don't really care about attacking or blocking. We're using it for that 5 power and toughness in order to station our stuff. Metalwork Colossus, a 10/10, so we're going to be stationing our stuff right away. Costs X less cast, where X is the total mana value of non-creature artifacts you control. If we just have an Endstone and Swift Boots, that's already a 10 for free. Well, no, sorry, it's 10/10 for 2. Palladium Mirror for some additional mana. Also, when we don't need the mana, we can just use the station. Scrawling Crawler. Some additional draw power with this, along with a little bit of extra burn on our opponent. And, we just use the station because we're not tending to attack with it. Shimmer Mirror, in order to flash in our artifact spells, in order to get them during our opponent's turn for potential protection. Or, use the mana when we have Unwinding Clock. Solemn Simulacrum, in order for that additional land, along with the additional draw power, and to the station potentially. Stormcoil Serpent, reach, trample, protection from multicolored, and just with X plus 1 plus 1 counters on it. So if we use 10, we have enough to station our ding already. Could potentially come in handy. Stuffy Doll, the #1 reason to run this deck. Indestructible, enters the battlefield, choose a player. Stuffy Doll is dealt damage, it deals damage to chosen player. Just not saying there's sometimes that one player who targets you, but if there's that one player who targets you, you could deal target that player with Stuffy Doll, then deal 100 damage to Stuffy Doll, dealing 100 damage to that player. That's super fun. Surge Conductor, whenever another non-token artifact control enters, proliferate, allow us to get more and more charge counters on our commander. And also good station itself. Traxos Scourge Krug enters the battlefield tapped and doesn't untap during untap stuff. Here we cast a historic spell, untap it. So we're going to have plenty of ways to tap, untap with this in order to make sure that we keep having it to station our commander. Ultima, Origin of Oblivion, basically doubles up the amount of mana that you're producing. Super good for any colorless deck, in my opinion. Voltaic Construct, 2, untap target artifact creature. I mean, maybe Traxos. Or, like, say if you have Traxos, then you cast this. You untap Traxos, tap Traxos to station, pay 2 to untap Traxos. And then you're at 14, dealing 100 damage. Deal 100 damage to your Voltaic Construct. Warm Coil Engine. 6, Power and Toughness, Death Touch Lifelink. Way to create more and more artifacts. But just an overall good way to station. Meaning we could tap it to station something. Then we could potentially remove it, having those other 3 come in, put it at 12, then we're there already at the 10. Ensign's Chronicler, whenever a player casts their first multicolored spell, not us, each turn, each other player draws a card. So, we're playing against multicolored decks. That's a whole bunch of draw power for us. Let's do Echoes of Eternity and we'll get to the second half of the deck. If an ability of a color spell would happen, that happens an additional time. Whenever we cast a color spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Basically allowing us to deal that 200 damage like we were talking about before. We like to see it. On to our instant sorceries and Planeswalker. No, we don't have the other Ugin in here. You could add that if you guys like that, rather than like this for a counterspell. Ozlek's Command, create X01 colors spawns. Target player scries X and draws a card. Exile a target creature with mana value X or less, or exile up to X target cards from the graveyard. Overall, all these are just good abilities. Getting that plenty of mana off of getting those tokens. Super helpful for us. Eldritch Immunity. Target creature control gains protection from each color until end turn. Overload it in order to give all your stuff that protection. Or to make sure that it'll stick around the station later. Desecrate. I mean, you're going to tend not to need the overload on this one. You're probably just going to use the one. Because protection doesn't protect from board wipes. Desecrate Reality. For each opponent, exile up to 1 target permanent that player controls with an even mana value. If at least 3 colorless mana was spent to cast a spell, return a permanent with an odd mana value from your graveyard to the battlefield. We have quite a few odd mana value spells. Not like a lot, like not like we're running Eldrazi, but still enough. It's worth it. For our Planeswalker with Ugin the Ineffable, color spells cost 2 less to cast. Just cost reduction is really good with this. Exile top card of the library face down. Look at it, create 2/2 Spear token. When that token leaves the battlefield, put the exile card into your hand. A little bit of draw power is helpful. Destroy target permanent that costs 1 or more colors. Okay, you can't destroy our stuff, just our opponent's stuff, so it can't redirect it to us. All it's dust for a board wipe for our opponent's stuff and none of our stuff. Environmental Sciences. Oh yeah, I thought that was a creature for a second. Search the library for a basic land card, reveal, put into your hand. You don't have that much ramp in this deck. We're going to need some more. Gruesome Slaughter, until end turn, colors creature you control gains tapped. This creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature. I mean, maybe we do this for our commander. We could swing in with something, dealing 120 damage. Sometimes 100 damage just isn't enough. Introduction to Prophecy, scry 2, draw a card. A little bit of draw power helpful there. Selective Obliteration, each player chooses a color, then exiles all permanents unless it's a color or it's only the color. Skittering Invasion, getting some more Eldrazi spawns for additional mana. And Wandering Archaic, whenever an opponent casts as an instant sorcery, you may pay 2. We get a copy of that as well. Super fun ability there. Or he used the sorcery side. And also it's 4 power toughness for that stationing cost. And then each player looks at the top 5 cards of the library, reveal a card from among them, insert a sorcery from among them, put it into your hand essentially. And each player gains 3 life. Then we have a whole bunch of ways to tap for some colors, some that benefit with each other, some that, have other benefits off of them as well. But that's the deck profile there. If you guys like the video, make sure you like the video. If you guys want to see more like this, subscribe so you can stay tuned for that. And yeah, overall, just hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for watching.